What's cooking in the kitchen, folks? Randy here with RTS Mobile Gaming to bring you another fantastic Diablo 4 video today. In today's video, we're talking about the basics wipe Greatstaff of the Crone Druid build. As you can see here, the AoE damage is absolutely insane. It hits up to 5 targets at a time just with basic attacks, double striking with the basic attacks, applying enormous amounts of debuffs, poison, slow, immobilization, crazy damage, procs. This build, I have to say, this is now the 7th build I've taken to fruition to test out. This is my favorite build from a gameplay standpoint. It is not quite as high damage as Pulverize or Tornado or Lightning, but it is the most fun, hands down. It is non-stop. You can kill stuff with your cooldowns, with your Dire Werewolf on cooldown. You can really stack up the damage and annihilate massive groups of enemies with Dire Werewolf up. The crit damage is crazy, and it does so much AoE and control. Okay, as you see, I'm just cruising through a couple of the 35 to 40 range Nightmare dungeons here, just messing around. Want to show you guys a little bit of the gameplay itself. But as you can see, you can basically headhunt here. I'm getting in, I'm AoEing everybody every time I attack it. Every time I attack someone, there's a 20% chance that I drop a massive lightning ball and hit everybody around them. The AoE damage with this build is beyond insane. The tankiness is beyond insane. It's way tankier than my Pulverize build and my Tornado and Lightning build. Just a little bit lower damage, but overall it's non-stop. I'm not waiting for cooldowns. I'm just charging in straight ahead, killing stuff all day long, guys. So we're going to go ahead and jump and check out the actual aspects and the abilities, and I'm also going to check out the glyphs this time. I usually don't go in that much in detail, but I am going to circle and talk about like I said, the aspects, the abilities, and the glyphs. In the next 15-20 seconds here after I kill this boss, we'll jump over to that. So obviously single target damage, if you don't have AoE enemies around to stack a crit buff, it's a little bit weaker than Pulverize or Tornado. So anyway, stay tuned. Here we go. Like and sub, folks. I'm so excited about this build. Yes! Alright folks, now let's take a quick look at the legendary aspects and the abilities needed to make this fantastic basic attack build work, okay? So first, the best in slot helmet is going to be Tempest Roar. This is going to essentially, we don't care about the spirit here, but it's going to essentially give you a lot of bonus damage when you're shapeshifted, a lot of critical strike damage. This helmet has dual offensive stats on it, which is great. It's also going to turn your storm skills into werewolf skills, okay? So that is going to mean that your storm skills are going to be getting benefits from your werewolf bonuses, which is super duper key for this build. You definitely want your Stormstrike to be giving you bonuses, applying poison, getting benefits from plus shapeshifting skills, which we'll talk about in 1 second. This is the best in slot helmet. You could technically make the build work with a different helmet. You'll definitely be dealing less damage. You'll be applying less poison. This is probably the best in slot by a long shot, okay? Chest piece. This is the poor man's version. Really, the unique chest that turns you into a werewolf full-time is best in slot. This version, it gives me +2 ranks to my shapeshifting when Hurricane is active. So essentially 50% uptime on +2 stacks to both of my Claw and to my Stormstrike because of my abilities here. So it does apply good damage bonuses. This particular chest also gives me plus ranks to Bloodhowl. Now, the werewolf only chest will be giving you offensive stats. So, you know, you'll be trading a little bit of the defensive stats I have on here for offensive stats and more consistent damage bonuses. Gloves. All right. You definitely want to have gloves that have critical strike chance, okay? Critical strike damage, either for abilities or for werewolf skills, okay? Attack speed is something you want to roll on here. Attack speed is very, very important for this build. You're basically 90% of your damage is coming from auto attacking and the things that proc off your auto attack from your basic skills. So definitely you want attack speed. Honestly, this perk, this legendary aspect should probably be on my amulet. So as I continue to improve on the gear I'm wearing now and get more and more pieces, I'm going to move this basic attack speed to my helmet and to my amulet and basically have 45% bonus attack speed. That will be the best in slot for the amulet. Transversely, you'll have to rotate around some of these other aspects I'm going to cover right now and put some of them on your gloves. All right, so Temerity for the pants. This is absolutely the best in slot pants by a mile since you are generating so much healing every couple seconds with Bloodhowl, and when you have your Dire Werewolf up, you're generating a ridiculous amount of healing with your shapeshifting abilities. This is going to basically mean that you have a massive HP barrier almost all the time, okay? It's also going to trigger other skills and abilities if you happen to have room on your bar for the aspect that gives you bonus damage when you have a barrier, which is something I'm trying to work into the build. I will have it into the build soon. I haven't decided where it's going to go. But this is going to be best in slot pants, okay? Alternatively, if you don't have these pants, you can have a pants that gives you plus 20% damage mitigation when you use a basic attack for, 3 to 6 seconds or whatever it is. That is an alternative, type B pant. But this is best in slot. For the boots, Debilitating Roar. This is something that is nice to have on the build. It's not a must-have on the build. This build is already insanely tanky, so this is a great starting point, okay? Make sure that your boots have movement speed and werewolf armor, okay? Dodge chance is great. The dodge chance pairs up nicely with my, gosh, I have dodge somewhere else. I don't know where else I have dodge. I have it somewhere. Maybe I don't. Anyways, dodge chance is great. You can put something else on here. Honestly, it's not a bad place to put on some other stuff here. But essentially, Debilitating Roar is a good... It's not best in slot, like I said. I'm going to try and rotate some of these aspects around from my other pieces of gear onto the boots so I can put attack speed onto my amulet and put something else on my gloves. I'm going to be doing musical chairs to make that work. But in the meantime, Debilitating Roar is useful. It is going to reduce the damage I take. It is going to immobilize the enemies because I'm applying poison to everybody around me every time I get a critical strike. So it does help. Naturally, the Greatstaff of the Crone. This is the only weapon for this slot. It is what makes or breaks the build. You must have this to have this build work. Not only does it give you +9 ranks to your claw, which is insane. It gives you great offensive capabilities. Okay, crowd control, close, crowd control, non-physical. All 4 of those damage stats work for this build. Okay, plus claw. And most importantly, it now means that your claw is going to apply Stormstrike when you attack as well, which is going to dramatically increase your damage. It's also going to increase the amount of damage that Stormstrike deals to begin with, so you essentially will be hitting like a truck. You'll also be applying 2 damage attacks with every single auto attack you do, which is really important for your abilities we'll talk about in a minute. All right? Duration for Grizzly Rage. This can be on the amulet. This can be on one of the rings. Okay, I happen to like this amulet because it does give me a few additional seconds of Grizzly Rage, but again, attack speed is going to be best for the amulet, so if you can find a way to make it work. I think in the next 3 or 4 days, I'll have the gear more optimized. I'll have a bunch more damage, maybe 20-30% more damage. I'll have 15% more attack speed, more survivability, more armor, and better synergy with the build. But for now, this is good enough, okay? So, Grizzly Rage, these 3 things I'm going to go through right now are have-to-haves, okay? You have to, really, 4 things. You can actually substitute any of the armor pieces for a, different piece and make the build work. A little bit weaker than optimal, but you can make it work. But if you don't have these 4 bonuses, you might as well not play the build, okay? So we already talked about the weapon. This is the must-have. Not only does it double the damage of your claw, it also incorporates a Stormstrike at the same exact time as you claw, which gets bonus damage and all these benefits. So it's a mandatory for the build. Okay? Grizzly Rage duration and then 10% critical strike damage every time you hit a crit. Mandatory for the build. Grizzly Rage. Okay? Shape shifts into a dire werewolf. This is mandatory for the build. You don't really care about the spirit cost reduction, but what you need is you need to have this Grizzly Rage turning you into a dire werewolf. You must have it because the Grizzly Rage stacking critical strike damage from this aspect is too good to ignore. There is no other way to make the build work and clear through 3 or 4 elite groups at once if you don't have your dire werewolf giving you unstoppable movement, giving you a ton of mobility, and applying this enormous damage bonus, okay? You must have it. Also, this will help you heal an enormous amount, which gives great synergy for your pants. Okay? Gives great synergy for your healing life beyond 100%, gives you a barrier. Next, this ring. Okay? And this can be on another piece of armor. You can have this bonus on another piece of armor, but you must have the overcharged aspect, which gives you a % chance to deal lightning damage to a target when you deal direct damage to them. Okay? This is super duper duper. This is a super big deal. I cannot stress enough. I actually tried the build without this for a minute. With better gear, I actually had thought, wow, I found the Holy Grail. I'm going to switch out this one piece. I actually got the rotation on the gear I wanted. I was able to use the attack speed in the right place. I was able to put, plus damage when a barrier's up on my gear. But I sacrificed this lucky hit overcharge ability. Big mistake. My damage plummeted. Even though my gear was much more optimized and I actually was supposed to be gaining 20% damage, my overall damage plummeted significantly when clearing AoE groups. This is absolutely insane. This is going to be the skill that helps you clear through everything, okay? This is an amazing ability. It's a must-have. And if you roll this directly from your, your instance buff, right, from the dungeon drop versus the aspect, you actually get a little bit of a higher damage roll. It ends up rolling at 10% chance, but it's a higher damage roll. That's slightly better than this current version at 20% with less damage, so it's really up to you, right? But it's a must-have. You absolutely need this for clearing through trash, and even packs of elites. Your damage is going to be absolutely insane. This is a make it or break it for the build. You're attacking so many targets, every single auto attack with multiple damage instances. You will be spamming this lightning damage like non-stop. It's crazy. Okay, now any of the abilities, folks, let's talk about it real quickaroo here, and then I'll spend 30 seconds on Paragon. So you want to max out Claw and you want to max out Stormstrike. You also want to max out Wild Storm to give yourself 2 additional targets. You want this because those 2 additional targets are going to trigger all kinds of things, like we just talked about. It'll trigger your poison, it'll trigger your lightning spam, it'll trigger all kinds of amazing things. So you must have this. You'll now be hitting, you'll now be hitting 7 targets with your thing, right? 7 targets? 5 targets, sorry. You're now hitting 5 targets with Stormstrike, with a chance to immobilize them. Your Claw, with that +9 on your weapon, does crazy damage, okay? You definitely want this. You want a chance to attack twice, because guess what? If you attack with Claw twice, Stormstrike hits twice. Definitely get that. All right? Next, we're going to jump down here and grab 6% crit. Critical strike chance is a big part of this build. You must have it. It is going to dramatically increase your damage. Get it. And almost everything you're killing is close. Okay? Let's just get that out of the way. You might be doing some chain damage with Stormstrike that hits targets that are far. Your Hurricane might be hitting targets that are distant, but 95% of your damage is up close. Get this skill. All right. Next, Earthen Bulwark. This is great to have. I like innate Earthen Bulwark. It adds a little damage. You could use the Fortify if you want. Doesn't really matter either or. The damage is nice. I'm trying to add more damage to the build, so this is the route I went. But essentially, you're using Earthen Bulwark for that, OSHIT moment when your shape-shifting ability drops. You want to give yourself invulnerability to crowd control by being unstoppable with Earthen Bulwark. You are able to actually rapidly reset through your spirit boons here. You are able to rapidly reset... oh, God, I didn't have that one on. What's happening? I have the wrong spirit boon on. No wonder my stuff wasn't resetting. Anyways, Calm Before the Storm in the Spirit Boons, because you're hitting so many targets multiple times, every single auto attack, Calm Before the Storm will help you reset your ultimate Dire Werewolf very quickly. I don't know why. I must have taken that off earlier when I was testing using my different ring I just told you out and forgot to put it back. Definitely have that Spirit Boon on. But this is going to help you live for a few seconds without getting crowd control, so you can auto attack and reset your ultimate. Okay, you should be able to shave 10 seconds off of your 18-second ultimate cooldown, no problem, while auto attacking. Blood Howl is super key. I have 1 point in here. I'm getting the rest from my gear, but this is great because it's going to give you 15% attack speed, which is one of the most valuable stats for this build. Okay, and you can spam this non-stop. Every time you get a kill, you can reduce the cooldown by 1 second. So you're basically spamming this every few seconds. You can probably get pretty close to, I'd say call it 75 to 90% uptime on your attack speed bonus when you're clearing stuff. Debilitating Roar. This goes with my boots. If I take that aspect off my boots, I'm not going to use Debilitating Roar anymore. I'll probably put 1 point in Shred, come down here to Enhance Shred, and come down here to Primal Shred so I can actually dash back and forth. You're not getting shred for damage. You're getting shred so you can dash from one target, dash to another elite, dash over here. I was playing with it earlier. The mobility using that shred build was a lot of fun. But like I said, I had to switch my aspects back because I'm just not geared up enough to make that swap. But the end game is I lose debilitating roar and I actually have shred, so I can have insane mobility, okay? From there, since we are spamming 3 different defensive abilities, you definitely want to have Vigilance maxed out. It's going to be a great damage mitigation tool, okay? We're going to go ahead and skip the entire companion tree right now, and we're going to drop down to the Wrath tree. We're actually going to get a lot of stuff on the Wrath tree here, okay? First off, Hurricane, Enhanced Hurricane, Savage Hurricane. This is going to be fantastic. It's going to dramatically reduce the damage you take by 20% from enemies around you. It's also going to help you apply vulnerability from elemental exposure. It's going to help you apply Bad Omen by dropping lightning bolts on people if you deal damage to them when they're already vulnerable, immobilized, or stunned. Keep in mind you are storm striking 5 people at once with a chance to double strike through shred, and at least 1 or 2 of those folks will be immobilized the entire fight, basically, because you're spamming it. So this is actually a big damage contributor. Okay, electrical shock. This is really big too. This is a chance when dealing lightning damage to immobilize the enemy. You already have a chance to immobilize them. Now this gives an additional 15% chance roll to immobilize for 3 seconds. And if they are immobilized, which they are immobilized a lot in this build, you will deal an 18% bonus damage. Okay? Next, we are going to go ahead and put 1 point in Toxic Claws. I happen to have 3 points in here because I had some extra points, but at least 1 point there. 3 points in Venom to get bonus critical strike. Okay? All right. Drop down here. 3 points in Defiance for bonus elite damage. Werebear is the big deal. Bonus Fortify from all sources. This is the big deal. It's going to help you keep your fortification up. You could, in theory, drop this. You could, in theory, let me say it again. You could, in theory, drop this and maybe grab movement speed up here in this tree from Digitigrade Gate. It's up to you. There's a lot of good things you can do either way. I happen to like the Fortify, so I'm going to leave it how it is. Next, Lupine Furiosity. This is mandatory for the build. Do not look at anything else and go, oh, I can run Earth and Might. No, you can't. Oh, I can run Nature's Fury. No, you can't. No. No, no, no. You can run Perfect Storm. Yes, you could run all of these things, but since you are attacking Lupine Furiosity, okay, and you are attacking 2 times with every basic attack swing because you're applying a swipe, a claw, you're applying a claw, and you're applying Stormstrike, and you're chain hitting up to 5 enemies with Stormstrike, okay, you will be basically getting a guaranteed critical strike every other auto attack, okay? At least one of your hits in every other auto attack is a guaranteed critical strike that does bonus damage. Even if you're hitting a boss, single target, every 3rd hit is a guaranteed critical strike because guess what? Every 3rd hit is actually 6 damage instances, so one of your hits in that 3rd hit will be a guaranteed critical strike. Okay? Super duper key. The only other option you could even consider for more than 1/1,000,000th of a second would be Bestial Rampage. Okay? Because attack speed is so valuable in this build. This is the only other option that you would even maybe, possibly, potentially, even a little bit consider doing. But this Lupine Furiosity is much better. Okay? This is like getting a bunch of innate critical strike chance, and it gives you bonus damage as well. Okay? Absolutely must have for the build. Paragon points. Let's spend a real short version on the Paragon points. I have not perfected this. Okay? Essentially, I'm using the Territorial Glyph, which gives me bonus damage when I am close to the enemy and reduces the damage that I take. I have just enough dexterity in this first tree to activate the bonus, all right? It's not leveled up. It's level like 13. I need to keep going, okay? You definitely want to get that. You want to make sure you're getting the Impel, the Prime. This is going to be a bunch of bonus damage and a bunch of HP and willpower. You definitely want that, all right? Resolve, this is not a must-have, but if you have points for it, go for it. It'll give you resistance and willpower, okay? For the next glyph, you're going to want the Werewolf glyph. This is going to dramatically increase your damage in werewolf form, which is all the time. Going to reduce the damage you take. So essentially, with these 2 glyphs, you're already reducing your damage taken by 20%, and you're adding a bunch of bonus damage. From there, I decided to move up here to the top and grab the Oppress node because all my enemies are crowd controlled. This is going to give you a fantastic damage bonus along with the nodes around it, giving you damage and critical strike damage. Really, really nice. Then go up here to Tempest as well. Tempest is fantastic. I don't happen to have enough stats to max it out. Okay, Thunderstruck is also amazing since I'm immobilizing people so much. I'm already getting 18% bonus damage from my abilities. Now I'm going to get another 30% bonus damage to immobilize enemies with Thunderstruck. Really synergizes well with the build. And I'm moving my way up to Deluge, okay? Deluge is great. It's got a bunch of really nice nodes around it with crowd control and crit damage. I'm getting that next. Okay, from there, I'll go ahead and grab Restorative and the HP around Restorative. I definitely want that life points for my maximum toughness. I also have branched over into the Werewolf tree, okay, where I've rotated it a couple times. I've gotten Furiosity and the nodes around it, so my Werewolf and critical strike damage are both really getting primed nicely. And from there, you don't need Lust for Carnage for this build. I was originally planning this Paragon setup to be for my Werewolf Lightning build, which this 2 Spirit Restoration is actually crazy, crazy strong for that build. So I'm probably done in this tree for now until I decide to move over and grab something else here. I don't even know what else I'd grab. They have a lot of good stuff. I don't know if I'd go deep enough into this tree to grab it all. Maybe when I'm level 100, I don't know. Oh, they have attack speed here. Oh, this is nice. Look at this. I mean, maybe I'd come down and grab this attack speed, you know, grab fleeting, give myself some bonus damage mitigation here. And it looks like 3.9% attack speed plus 2.5 plus 2.5. So I'm basically getting, if this is maxed out, 9% attack speed from this area, which is nice. I don't care about the spirit, really. I don't know. So that's where I'm at Paragon-wise. I'm level 76. I'm not 100 yet. I still have a long ways to go. Okay, so if you guys have liked this in-depth video, go ahead, like, and sub. We are going to continue building this out, theory crafting it into the ground, and making it absolutely amazing. I will release an optimized video soon, but I have to say, this has been the most fun I've had in Diablo 4 playing this build. Does it do as much damage as my Pulverizer or my Tornado or my Lightning builds? No, it does not. It does a little bit less damage, absolutely, but it is so much more fun. The play experience is so much more fun. I'm not running in circles waiting for cooldowns. I'm not, you know what I mean? When my Grizzly Rage is on cooldown, guess what? It's 18 seconds. I pop Earthen Bulwark. I shed, 8 to 10 seconds off of that by spam auto-attacking a group of mobs. I really don't have a big problem with that, and I actually have amazing tankiness without it. I do great damage without it, okay? So you can still actually kill elite packs without Grizzly Rage up as this build. There are other builds where you cannot, all right? Pulverize and Tornado and Lightning are extremely reliant on the Grizzly Rage cooldown. When it's on cooldown, you're basically kiting and running in circles, and the playing experience is not very fun. Okay, if you're only having fun 50% of the time, then what are you doing? This build is non-stop all the time, totally a blast, and it does great damage anyways, okay? So, thanks for watching. Love you guys a long time. Randy out.